The year is 1336. The world is a tapestry of empires and kingdoms, of shifting alliances and simmering conflicts. From the shores of the Mediterranean to the steppes of Central Asia, the echoes of clashing swords and the whispers of political intrigue fill the air. It is in this tumultuous era, in the heart of a region known as Transoxiana, that a legend will be born, a conqueror who will leave an indelible mark on the pages of history. His name will be whispered in hushed tones, both feared and revered, Tamerlane. Tamerlane's childhood is steeped in the tales of a bygone era, the era of the Mongol Empire. The elders speak in hushed whispers of Genghis Khan, the legendary warlord who united the nomadic tribes and forged an empire that stretched from the Pacific Ocean to Eastern Europe. These stories of conquest, of sweeping victories and ruthless ambition ignite a fire in young Tamerlane's heart. He dreams of emulating the deeds of his ancestors, of restoring the lost glory of the Mongols. But the Mongol Empire, once a monolithic force, has fractured into rival khanates. The year is 1360. Tamerlane, now a young man of 24, navigates the treacherous currents of Transoxian politics. His physical injuries may have branded him as Timur the Lame, but his sharp mind and even sharper ambition remained unscathed. He understands that to rise in this chaotic world, he needs to forge alliances, even if they are as temporary as the desert winds. He finds an opportunity in Amir Hussein, a powerful warlord who controls a significant portion of Transoxiana. Hussein, though a capable ruler, is known for his impulsive nature and thirst for power. Tamerlane, with his strategic brilliance and growing reputation, becomes a valuable asset to the emir. He serves as a trusted advisor, his counsel sought after in matters of war and diplomacy. As Tamerlane's influence grows, so too does the tension between him and Amir Hussein. It is the inevitable clash between two alpha predators, the lion and the leopard, circling each other in the arena of power. Hussein, blinded by his own ambition and increasingly wary of his lieutenant's growing popularity, begins to see Tamerlane as a threat rather than an ally. The delicate balance of their alliance finally shatters. Sources disagree on the exact trigger, but whispers of betrayal and plots against each other poison their relationship. Open conflict becomes inevitable. In 1366, the two armies clash near the city of Balkh, their banners snapping in the wind like birds of prey about to strike. The battle is fierce and bloody, a testament to the martial prowess of both leaders. However, Tamerlane, despite having a smaller force, has the advantage of strategy and the loyalty of his men. He outmaneuvers Hussein, his troops fighting with the ferocity of cornered wolves, their loyalty to their leader surpassing their fear of death. Tamerlane emerges victorious, but the victory is not without its cost. The battlefields are littered with the bodies of those who had once fought side by side, yet in the game of power, there are rarely true victors, only survivors. With Hussein defeated and dead, Tamerlane stands as the undisputed master of Transoxiana. But his victory is just the first act in a much grander play he envisions. He sets his sights on consolidating his power base, transforming the region from a fragmented battleground into the heart of a new empire. He chooses the ancient city of Samarkand as his capital. Strategically located on the Silk Road, Samarkand is a melting pot of cultures and a hub of trade. Tamerlane envisions it not just as a seat of power, but as a beacon of knowledge and artistry, a rival to the legendary cities of Baghdad and Constantinople. Tamerlane, despite his ruthlessness on the battlefield, understands the importance of stability and prosperity for a lasting reign. He implements a strict but just legal code, drawing on both Islamic law and Mongol traditions. He commissions the construction of canals and irrigation systems, revitalizing agriculture and promoting trade along the Silk Road. He also understands the power of symbolism. He knows that to command respect, he must embody the ideals of a just and mighty ruler. He presents himself as a patron of the arts and sciences, inviting scholars, poets and artisans to his court. He commissions the construction of magnificent mosques, libraries and palaces, transforming Samarkand into a city of breathtaking beauty and cultural splendor. Yet beneath this veneer of civilization, the iron will of a conqueror remains undimmed. Tamerlane knows that his newfound kingdom is surrounded by rivals, by those who would seek to exploit any sign of weakness. He maintains a powerful army, personally overseeing its training and discipline. His eyes, however, are already on the horizon, gazing at the rich lands beyond Transoxiana, lands ripe for the taking. By the late 1370s, Tamerlane, the master of Transoxiana, turned his gaze westward. Persia, once a land united under the Ilkhanate, had fragmented into a patchwork of rival dynasties and petty kingdoms. To Tamerlane, it was a land ripe for the taking, a jewel waiting to be added to his growing crown of conquests. His first target was the city of Herat, a cultural and strategic centre in eastern Persia. In 1381, Tamerlane's armies descended upon Herat, their banners a sea of silk and steel under the Central Asian sun. The city, despite its defences, could not withstand the ferocity of Tamerlane's assault. He promised leniency in return for surrender, and the city, weary of bloodshed, opened its gates. However, Tamerlane's reputation as a ruthless conqueror preceded him. When a rebellion erupted within the city, fueled by those who refused to submit to foreign rule, Tamerlane unleashed the full fury of his wrath. The rebellion was crushed, and Herat, once a centre of learning and art, was put to the sword. The fate of Herat sent shockwaves through Persia. City after city surrendered to Tamerlane, hoping to avoid the same gruesome fate. Isfahan, the magnificent capital of the Muzaffarids, fell after a protracted siege, its streets flowing red with the blood of its defenders. Shiraz, renowned for its gardens and poets, met a similar end, its beauty unable to sway the heart of the conqueror. With Persia firmly under his control, Tamerlane turned his attention northward, to the rugged peaks and fertile valleys of the Caucasus. This region, home to a tapestry of cultures and kingdoms, had long been a crossroads of empires, a prize coveted by those seeking to control the trade routes linking east and west. In 1386, Tamerlane led his army through the Darial Pass, a narrow passage carved into the heart of the Caucasus Mountains. The Georgian kingdom ruled by King Bagrat V lay before him. The Georgians, renowned for their martial prowess, fought bravely, their resistance fueled by a fierce love for their homeland. But Tamerlane's armies were a force unlike any the Georgians had encountered before. Their numbers seemed endless, their discipline unmatched. City after city fell, and soon King Bagrat V found himself a captive in Tamerlane's camp. Tamerlane, ever the pragmatist, understood the importance of securing the loyalty of those he conquered. He treated Bagrat with a measure of respect, offering him the chance to retain his throne in exchange for his allegiance and conversion to Islam. Bagrat, recognizing the futility of further resistance, agreed to Tamerlane's terms. Section 3, Clash of Titans, Tamerlane and the Ottomans. The year 1402 marked a pivotal moment in Tamerlane's conquests, a clash of titans that would reshape the political landscape of the Middle East. His opponent was Sultan Bayezid I, ruler of the Ottoman Empire, a rising power that had already swallowed vast swathes of Anatolia and the Balkans. The two empires had been on a collision course for years, their ambitions brushing against each other like tectonic plates, building pressure for an inevitable earthquake. The spark came in the form of diplomatic disputes, territorial ambitions, and the age-old rivalry between two powerful rulers who refused to back down. The two armies met on the plains of Ankara, their banners a kaleidoscope of colours against the Anatolian sky. Bayezid's army, though larger, was weary from years of campaigning. Tamerlane's forces, on the other hand, were battle-hardened and driven by the promise of plunder. The Battle of Ankara was a testament to Tamerlane's strategic genius. He exploited the Ottomans' weaknesses, cutting off their supply lines and sowing discord among their ranks. The battle raged for hours, a maelstrom of steel and screams, but by nightfall Tamerlane emerged victorious. Section 4. The spoils of Delhi, a crimson tide in India. With the Ottoman Empire reeling from its defeat at Ankara, Tamerlane turned his attention eastward once more. His gaze fell upon India, a land renowned for its wealth and splendor. In 1398, he set out from Samarkand with an army of over 100,000 men, his ambition fueled by tales of the riches that awaited him. His path led him through the Khyber Pass, the gateway to the Indian subcontinent. He crossed the Indus River, his army a tide of horses and men, their armor glinting under the Indian sun. The Delhi Sultanate, weakened by internal strife and unprepared for the scale of Tamerlane's invasion, could offer little resistance. The Battle of Delhi, fought on December 17, 1398, was a massacre. Tamerlane's forces, disciplined and ruthless, cut through the Sultanate's army like a scythe through wheat. The city, once a symbol of Islamic power and opulence, lay at the mercy of the conqueror. Tamerlane, true to his reputation, unleashed a wave of terror upon Delhi. The city was sacked, its streets running red with blood. The treasures of the Sultanate, accumulated over generations, were plundered and carried back to Samarkand on a seemingly endless caravan of camels and elephants. Section 1. The iron grip maintaining control. Tamerlane, the master of conquest, faced a daunting challenge: how to govern an empire forged in the crucible of war, an empire stretching from the Mediterranean Sea to the banks of the Ganges River. His answer lay in a delicate balancing act, a combination of iron-fisted control, strategic delegation, and a carefully cultivated image as both a ruthless conqueror and a just ruler. He understood that the vastness of his domain required a firm hand, a system that could maintain order and quell dissent before it could fester into rebellion. He divided his empire into provinces, each ruled by a carefully chosen governor, often a trusted family member or a loyal general who had proven his worth on the battlefield. These men were Tamerlane's eyes and ears, tasked with enforcing his laws, collecting taxes, and ensuring the smooth flow of resources from the furthest corners of the empire to his coffers. But delegation alone was not enough. Tamerlane, a firm believer in the adage "to be feared is to be respected," employed a calculated reign of terror to maintain control. His campaigns were legendary for their brutality, his conquests often followed by mass executions, the construction of towers from human skulls serving as grim reminders of the cost of defiance. This calculated cruelty, while abhorrent to modern sensibilities, served a strategic purpose. It instilled fear in his enemies, discouraging rebellions before they could ignite, and it reminded his subjects of the price of disobedience. Yet, Tamerlane was no mere tyrant driven by bloodlust. He understood that true power stemmed not just from inspiring fear, but also from commanding respect, from fostering a sense of order and justice within his realm. He implemented a legal code that, while harsh, aimed to establish a semblance of fairness within his domain. He drew upon Islamic Sharia law, the legal traditions of the conquered Persian lands, and the customary laws of the Mongol Yasser, creating a hybrid system designed to address the diverse needs of his subjects. Section 2. A balancing act blending traditions. Tamerlane's reign was a study in contrasts, a fusion of seemingly opposing forces. He was a devout Muslim, a man who prayed 5 times a day and sought counsel from Islamic scholars. Yet he was also a pragmatist, a ruler who understood that the stability of his empire depended on balancing the interests of the diverse religious and ethnic groups under his rule. His court was a testament to this delicate balancing act, a vibrant tapestry of cultures and faiths. He patronized Islamic scholars and commissioned the construction of magnificent mosques, seeking to cement his legitimacy as a champion of Islam. He recognized the importance of the Persian language and culture, embracing it within his court and administration. He even incorporated elements of Mongol tradition into his rule, a nod to his nomadic heritage and a reminder of the legacy of Genghis Khan, whom he both admired and sought to surpass. Tamerlane's pragmatism extended to his economic policies. He understood that a prosperous empire was a stable empire. He encouraged trade along the Silk Road, offering protection to merchants and investing in the infrastructure necessary for commerce to flourish. He patronized artisans and craftsmen, recognizing that their skills not only enhanced the beauty of his cities, but also contributed to the economic well-being of his realm. He was also a shrewd judge of talent, recognizing that his own ambition could only be realized with the help of capable administrators, military strategists, and advisors. Section 3. Samarkand, Jewel of the Empire. No city embodied Tamerlane's vision of a powerful and prosperous empire more than Samarkand, his chosen capital. Located at the crossroads of the Silk Road, Samarkand had long been a center of trade and cultural exchange. Under Tamerlane's rule, it was transformed into a city of breathtaking beauty and grandeur, a testament to his ambition and his patronage of the arts. Tamerlane spared no expense in beautifying his capital. He commissioned the construction of magnificent mosques, madrasas, Islamic schools, libraries, hospitals and caravanserais, roadside inns for travelers. He invited renowned architects, artisans and craftsmen from across his empire and beyond, their skills merging to create a unique architectural style that blended Persian elegance with Mongol grandeur. The Bibi Khanim Mosque, named after his beloved wife, became one of the largest and most impressive mosques in the Islamic world, its towering minarets and azure domes a testament to Tamerlane's piety and his desire to leave a lasting legacy. The Shah-e-Zinda necropolis, a complex of mausoleums and gardens, became a place of pilgrimage and a showcase for the finest examples of Timurid tilework and calligraphy. But Samarkand was more than just a collection of stunning buildings. It was a vibrant center of learning and scholarship, a place where scholars, poets, astronomers and mathematicians from across the Islamic world flocked, drawn by Tamerlane's patronage and the opportunity to study in a city renowned for its intellectual firmament. Tamerlane's court in Samarkand became a melting pot of ideas and cultures, a testament to his vision of an empire that, while forged in the heat of conquest, aspired to be a center of civilization and enlightenment. Section 1. The Silk Road Renaissance, a flourishing of arts and sciences. While history often remembers Tamerlane for his military prowess and the vast empire he carved out with his sword, his reign represents more than just conquest and bloodshed. It was also an era of remarkable cultural and intellectual flourishing, a period historians often refer to as the Timurid Renaissance. This era saw a vibrant exchange of ideas and artistic traditions, fueled by Tamerlane's own patronage and his desire to transform his empire into a center of learning and refinement. Tamerlane, despite his often brutal methods on the battlefield, possessed a deep appreciation for the arts and sciences. He understood that a true empire, a lasting legacy, was built not just on military might, but also on the foundation of knowledge, creativity, and cultural achievement. He envisioned his capital, Samarkand, as a beacon of enlightenment, a rival to the legendary cities of Baghdad and Cordoba, and he spared no expense in attracting the finest minds and most skilled artisans to his court. Under his patronage, Samarkand became a magnet for scholars, poets, astronomers, mathematicians, historians and theologians, drawn from across the Islamic world and beyond. They flocked to his court, lured by the promise of patronage, eager to engage in intellectual discourse and contribute to the flourishing cultural landscape of the Timurid Empire. Tamerlane's own interests were vast and varied. He was known to spend hours in conversation with scholars, debating points of theology, history or astronomy. He commissioned the translation of ancient texts into Persian, making knowledge more accessible to his subjects. He encouraged the development of new technologies, particularly in the fields of astronomy, mathematics and cartography, recognizing their practical applications in navigation, warfare and governance. Tamerlane's passion for architecture was perhaps his most enduring legacy. He envisioned Samarkand not just as a capital, but as a testament to his power and the cultural achievements of his reign. He poured vast sums of wealth, plundered from his conquests, into ambitious construction projects, transforming Samarkand into a city of breathtaking beauty, a jewel of the Silk Road that dazzled travelers with its splendor. He gathered the most skilled architects, masons, tile makers, and calligraphers from across his empire, bringing them to Samarkand to work on his grand vision. He drew inspiration from the diverse architectural traditions of the lands he conquered, blending Persian elegance, Mongol grandeur, and Islamic aesthetics into a unique style that became synonymous with the Timurid era. Among his most ambitious projects was the Bibi Khanim Mosque, named after his beloved wife. This massive mosque, with its soaring minarets, azure domes, and intricate tile work, was intended to be the largest and most impressive mosque in the Islamic world, a symbol of Tamerlane's piety and his empire's grandeur. The Shah-e-Zinda necropolis, a complex of mausoleums and gardens, became a place of pilgrimage and a showcase for the finest examples of Timurid art and architecture. The Guri Amir, Tamerlane's own mausoleum, though smaller than the Bibi Khanim Mosque, is a masterpiece of Timurid design. Its fluted dome covered in turquoise tiles, its interior adorned with intricate geometric patterns and calligraphy. Beyond these grand religious structures, Tamerlane also commissioned the construction of madrasas, libraries, hospitals, caravanserais and gardens, all designed to enhance the beauty and functionality of his capital. He understood that a city's greatness was measured not just by its monuments, but also by the quality of life it offered its inhabitants. Tamerlane's patronage of the arts extended beyond architecture. He was a keen supporter of literature, poetry, music, and miniature painting, recognizing their power to elevate the human spirit, preserve cultural traditions, and enhance the prestige of his court. He gathered at his court the finest poets, writers, and storytellers, showering them with gifts and honors, encouraging them to compose works praising his reign, celebrating the victories of his armies, and exploring themes of love, faith, and destiny. Under his patronage, the Persian language experienced a renaissance, with poets like Hafiz-i-Abru and Sharaf al-Din Ali Yazdi producing works that are still celebrated for their beauty and eloquence. Miniature painting, a highly specialized art form that originated in Persia, flourished under Tamerlane's rule. He commissioned lavishly illustrated manuscripts, often copies of the Quran or Persian literary classics, as well as portraits of himself and members of his court. These miniature paintings, known for their meticulous detail, vibrant colors, and delicate brushwork, offer a glimpse into the opulent world of the Timurid court and the artistic sensibilities of the era. Tamerlane's patronage had a profound impact on the development of music as well. He was a skilled musician himself, known to play the ney and to appreciate a wide range of musical styles. He invited musicians from across his empire and beyond to perform at his court, creating a vibrant musical landscape that blended Persian, Central Asian and Indian traditions. Tamerlane's reign, though marked by conquest and violence, left an undeniable mark on the cultural and intellectual landscape of Central Asia and the wider Islamic world. His patronage, driven by a complex mix of personal ambition, political calculation, and genuine appreciation for beauty and knowledge, fostered a vibrant cultural renaissance that transcended the boundaries of his empire, influencing artistic and intellectual trends for generations to come. The price of ambition, a legacy of destruction. Tamerlane's death in 1405, while on his way to conquer China, cast a long shadow across his vast empire. Like Alexander the Great before him, he left behind a dominion that proved too vast, too fragile, to survive intact without the force of his iron will holding it together. The empire, stretching from the Mediterranean to the Indus River, began to fracture almost immediately. His descendants, lacking his ruthless genius, squabbled amongst themselves, their ambitions ultimately undermining the stability he had so ruthlessly forged. Yet the legacy of Tamerlane's conquests extended far beyond the rise and fall of political borders. The sheer scale of his military campaigns, the relentless march of his armies across Asia, left an indelible mark on the demographics and psyche of the regions he traversed. Cities that had once stood as centers of commerce and culture, like Baghdad, Damascus and Delhi, lay in ruins, their populations decimated, their treasures looted. Estimates of the death toll attributed to Tamerlane's conquests vary widely, but even the most conservative figures are staggering. Millions perished in his campaigns, victims of sieges, massacres, and the famine and disease that followed in the wake of his armies. The construction of towers from the skulls of his enemies, a gruesome spectacle intended to instill fear, served as a chilling reminder of the human cost of his ambition. The psychological impact of Tamerlane's reign was equally profound. His reputation for ruthlessness, his deliberate use of terror as a tool of statecraft, cast a long shadow over the lands he conquered. For generations, rulers would invoke his name both as a warning and as a model, a testament to the enduring power of fear in shaping human behavior. A complex tapestry enduring impacts. Despite the destruction wrought by his conquests, Tamerlane's legacy is not one of unmitigated devastation. His reign, though brief, had a lasting impact on the political, economic and cultural landscape of Eurasia, shaping the course of history in ways that continue to reverberate today. Politically, Tamerlane's campaigns redrew the map of Asia. His defeat of the Golden Horde, a remnant of the Mongol Empire that had ruled the steppes for over a century, shattered their power and paved the way for the rise of new powers, including the nascent Muscovite state that would eventually evolve into the Russian Empire. His victory over the Ottoman Empire, though temporary, threw the region into turmoil, delaying their expansion and buying time for other powers to consolidate their positions. Economically, Tamerlane's reign had a mixed impact. While his conquests disrupted trade routes and devastated cities in the short term, his patronage of the Silk Road, his efforts to restore stability and security along its length ultimately contributed to its revival in the 15th century. His capital, Samarkand, became a hub of commerce, a meeting point for merchants from China, India, Persia and Europe, facilitating the exchange of goods, ideas and technologies. Culturally, Tamerlane's legacy is perhaps the most complex and enduring. His patronage of the arts and sciences, his ambition to make Samarkand a centre of learning, fostered a cultural flowering that transcended his reign. The architectural masterpieces he commissioned, the mosques, madrasas and libraries, stand today as testaments to the skill of Timurid artisans and the vision of their patron. The literary and artistic traditions that flourished under his rule, the poetry, miniature painting and scientific treatises continued to influence artistic and intellectual trends long after his empire had crumbled. A legacy reclaimed and re-examined. Centuries after his death, Tamerlane remains a figure who continues to fascinate and provoke debate. His legacy is complex and contradictory as the empire he forged. In the annals of history, he occupies a paradoxical space. Revered as a brilliant military strategist and a discerning patron of the arts, yet simultaneously condemned for his ruthlessness and the staggering human cost of his conquests. Modern historians approaching his reign with a more nuanced lens grapple with this duality, attempting to reconcile the awe-inspiring achievements with the undeniable brutality that marked his path to power. Gone are the days when Tamerlane was simply romanticized as a larger-than-life conqueror, his cruelty brushed aside in favor of his military genius. Modern scholarship, informed by a deeper understanding of the societies and cultures impacted by his conquests, recognizes the devastating consequences of his actions, the widespread death and destruction he left in his wake. The narratives of the vanquished, once silenced or overshadowed, are now given voice, painting a more complete, albeit grimmer, picture of his reign. Yet, even as historians acknowledge the darker aspects of his reign, there is a growing recognition of the complexities inherent in judging figures from the past by the moral standards of the present. Tamerlane was a product of his time, an era when warfare was a constant, empires rose and fell with alarming regularity, and power was often measured in blood and conquest. To view him solely through the lens of modern morality, argue some historians, risks simplifying the historical context in which he operated. Instead, there is a growing emphasis on understanding Tamerlane within the framework of his own cultural and political milieu. His legal reforms, for example, while harsh by today's standards, were seen as bringing a measure of order and justice to a region often plagued by lawlessness. His patronage of the arts and sciences, though undoubtedly motivated in part by a desire for personal glory, nevertheless fostered a cultural renaissance that had a lasting impact on Central Asia and beyond. Modern perspectives on Tamerlane, therefore, are less about passing judgment and more about understanding the man and his legacy in all their complexity. He remains a figure who defies easy categorization, a conqueror who built empires and destroyed civilizations, a patron of the arts who left a trail of blood and tears in his wake. His story serves as a stark reminder of the multifaceted nature of power, the seductive allure of ambition, and the enduring human capacity for both creation and destruction. The Iron Emperor, a legacy forged in contradictions. Tamerlane's star blazed across the late 14th century, a fiery meteor of ambition, ruthlessness, and unexpected enlightenment. He was a man born into a world teetering on the edge of chaos, the once mighty Mongol Empire shattered into warring factions, leaving a vacuum of power that he, with unwavering resolve, sought to fill. From the steppes of Central Asia to the shores of the Mediterranean, his name became synonymous with both terror and awe, his armies leaving a trail of shattered cities and subjugated kingdoms in their wake. To call him merely a conqueror, however, feels insufficient, a label that, while accurate, fails to encompass the paradoxical nature of his reign. Yes, he was a military genius, a master strategist whose campaigns are still studied in military academies today, a testament to his understanding of both battlefield tactics and the subtler arts of psychological warfare. But he was also a builder, a patron of the arts and sciences, a man who sought to not just conquer but to create, to leave behind a legacy that extended beyond the rubble of his conquests. Samarkand, his jewel of a capital, stands as a testament to this duality. Its towering mosques, its intricate madrasas, its vibrant libraries all speak to a vision that extended beyond mere conquest. Tamerlane understood that true power, lasting power, required more than just brute force. It demanded a cultivation of culture, a nurturing of knowledge, a creation of beauty that could inspire awe and foster loyalty in equal measure. Yet the shadow of his brutality is never far from view. The millions who perished in his campaigns, the cities left in ruins, the towers constructed from the skulls of his enemies, these are not mere footnotes in his story, they are integral chapters, a stark reminder of the human cost of his ambition. To attempt to sanitize his image, to portray him as a benevolent ruler, would be a disservice to the countless lives lost, the civilizations shattered under the weight of his ambition. And so we are left with a legacy forged in contradictions, a tapestry woven from threads of brilliance and barbarity, of enlightenment and destruction. Tamerlane, the Iron Emperor, remains an enigma, a figure who challenges easy categorization, whose story forces us to confront the complexities of power, the seductive allure of ambition, and the enduring human capacity for both great good and unspeakable evil. His is a legacy that continues to resonate, not just in the stones of Samarkand, but in the very fabric of history itself, a reminder that the past, much like the man himself, is rarely black or white, but rather 1,000 shades of grey.